Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to this webinar on Wetland City Accreditation. Thank you for joining. We will just start with a few technical aspects of today's meeting. My name is Chris Rostron. I'm the MedWet coordinator, the regional initiative for the Mediterranean. We have several different speakers here today. And we are recording this session for those that cannot make it. So we hope that we will be able to share this afterwards to make sure that everybody can benefit from what will happen today. I'm co-hosting today with my colleague Sana Muzugi from the MedWet team. Just a quick introduction as well then, if you would like to see captions with the the Zoom translation, which we know is not perfect, you can click on the buttons on the bottom of the screen. If you can see the round circle with the 3 points, click on that, choose show captions, and then when it shows captions, click on the arrow that will allow you to select the language you hear it in. Si vous avez besoin de la traduction, on va utiliser l'outil traduction pour la réunion. Donc, comme ça, si vous voyez le petit cercle en bas avec les 3 points, vous cliquez sur cela, vous sélectionnez sous-titres ou captions et vous pouvez choisir la langue dans laquelle vous allez voir les sous-titres. Donc, si vous avez besoin de quelque chose, mettre quelque chose dans la boîte de chat et comme ça, on peut vous aider à sélectionner les langues. We will put some directions in the chat. As usual, this is a meeting, not a webinar, so we would ask you just to keep your microphone shut unless you want to intervene. There will be some time at the end for us to put questions and have a bit of discussion, hopefully, if we have time. Sana, did I forget anything before we move on?
No, it's fine. Perfect.
Excellent, thank you. Abder, if you could put the directions in the chat box, that would be great as well. We will move on, in that case, to our introduction, and thank you very much to Zebedee Njisu, who is the Senior Representative for the Africa region at the Ramsar Secretariat. And I will pass over to Zebedee to give us a quick introduction to the session. Zebedee, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chris. Hi, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today. On behalf of the Secretary General of the Convention on Wetlands, I'm delighted to welcome you to this information webinar on Wetland City Accreditation, focused on strengthening the participation of Mediterranean cities in this scheme. As indicated at the beginning, my name is Zebedee Njisu. I'm not just the representative for Africa, but I'm the focal person for the Wetland City Accreditation Scheme at the Secretariat. I want to extend my sincere thanks to MedWet for organizing this very important event, which is timely. This scheme is designed to support potential candidate cities, particularly in the Mediterranean region, and to strengthen our collective understanding of the accreditation process. We are gathered here today because we recognize a fundamental truth that wetlands play a key role in environmental resilience. Yes, indeed, they're essential in supporting the well-being of urban and peri-urban populations. To recognize and encourage the incredible commitments cities make in protection and sustainable management of these ecosystems, the convention established the Wetland City Accreditation Scheme back in 2012. Today, We are proud to say that momentum around this scheme is growing steadily. Currently, the scheme boasts 74 cities, 74 accredited cities worldwide. Within this global network, 14 cities are found in the Mediterranean region, sub-region. While this is a proud achievement, we acknowledge that this regional dynamic still needs some strengthening. We need better representation of accredited wetland cities across this sub-region. That brings us to the urgency and the opportunity this event offers. There is an ongoing call for applications, which is open and comes to a close by December this year. The application window runs from the end of March, and as I indicated, the deadline is December. December might sound far away, but in terms of collecting data and filling the form, it is very, very near. Cities will have to cities have this designated period to prepare and submit the applications. The results are expected to be announced at the convention's COP 16 in Panama, but the official announcement would happen in the later half of 2027, which is next year, during the last official standing committee leading up to COP 16. So during our time together this morning, we are aiming for an improved understanding of the application process, successful identification of future candidate cities, if that is possible here, or maybe cities can just indicate that they are going to start. Then, ultimately, we hope that when we arrive Panama, there will be more mayors from the sub-region coming to receive their certificates as accredited cities. Ladies and gentlemen, whether you are representing the Mediterranean cities, wetland managers, NGOs, national institutions, or you are just a national focal point, your presence here today is the first step towards a more resilient future. Thank you for your dedication to our urban wetlands. I wish you all a highly productive and inspiring meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Zebede, for this rich and complete introduction. I have nothing to add. Without further ado, we will invite Mr. Chris Roston, who is our MedWet coordinator, but who is also a member of the Independent Advisory Committee. His presentation will be about the MedWet initiatives and her role in the Independent Advisory Committee. Chris, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Sana. Do you see my screen? Perfect. So I'm going to give a little bit of background then on MedWet, and particularly our role in city accreditation. It's worth pointing out that I've been the MedWet coordinator for just under 2 years now, and before that I was involved in the city accreditation as part of the SEPA oversight panel. So just a little bit of context for that. MedWet, for those that don't know, is the first Ramsar regional initiative that was set up in 1991. So we comprise 27 countries who are Mediterranean or peri-Mediterranean around the basin. And we also include some NGO members as well as some honorary members as well. So I hope you can see the 27 countries there. the three NGO members that belong as well, so WWF, IUCN, and our host in the Tour de Valais. We have a secretariat, small secretariat, which is based in the Camargue, a team of 6 people who work around the Mediterranean, and also an NGO which manages us, so the MedWet Association. We have the observatory as well, so the MedWet Observatory, which was born out of MedWet and is now managed by the Tour de Valais, and a network of 50 members who belong to the network of wetland managers around the Mediterranean. So just some activities, things that we are mainly based or tasked to do. Effectively, as in any Ramsar regional initiative, including Mr. Sir, who will speak later, we're tasked with coordination with partner countries to look at how we can deliver the Ramsar objectives at regional level. So working with many countries that share many of similar challenges and opportunities around wetlands. We play a role in supporting other European Ramsar regional initiatives, and we've also worked quite closely with the Southern Africa Ramsar regional initiative to guide them and support them in their recent launch. The Mediterranean Wetland Observatory has recently produced the 3rd Mediterranean Wetland Outlook, which really highlights a lot of the challenges facing wetlands around the region, as well as some of the opportunities, and is working now on developing a geo-portal. The Site Managers Network I mentioned, this gives us an excellent link to people who are delivering wetland conservation, not just at Ramsar sites, but at other important sites as well. We have a program around CEPA, so communication, education, participation, and awareness. We deliver regular small grants for World Wetlands Day. We work on Wetland City Accreditation, and we have a communications program as well. So we work a lot around communication, networking, and advocacy opportunities. In terms of the Independent Advisory Committee then, here is a picture. I was trying to find a picture of the Independent Advisory Committee that wasn't too boring. So here is June and Libouche. Libouche is the chair, celebrating the 10th anniversary when we were in Tata last year. It consists basically of a group of experts and country representatives who guide the process. It has the link directly to the Ramsar Secretariat and also includes the structures which are related to that. So the Scientific and Technical Review Panel, the CEPA Oversight Panel, and the IOPs. And it also links to other external relevant bodies who are doing similar things. So it has representatives from ICLE, the international local authority representatives who also work on a similar scheme, and UN Habitat. We have some technical advisors, so people who have expertise on this, and we also have representatives from the RRIs. So obviously the Ramsar Regional Centre East Asia, who've led on this from the very start and are really the motor for keeping this going, and MedWet as well, which is representing the Mediterranean group of countries. In terms of what the advisory committee does, so it plays a central role really in working with the Secretariat to develop guidance and documentation. And we have spent a lot of time on trying to make sure that the application forms, that all of the guidance that is behind this and that you will find on the Ramsar website is correct and supports people to deliver what we need to know when they're applying for Ramsar City accreditation, but without making it too complicated for people. So as Zebedee said, you know, the forms are there. It will take a little while. The process requires us to be quite clear about what we want to make sure that we know exactly what's happening on the ground. And that means that we can be confident then in terms of what we're doing when we designate some of these wetland cities. We regularly review the whole process. So there have been various iterations, and Mr. Su, I think, will talk more about that later to make sure that it's fit for purpose. Now we've got to the stage where we have people renewing their applications, so we need to make sure that that works well. And finally, one of the roles really in terms of reviewing applications and renewals. And again, making sure that we are looking and respecting a fair and due diligent process. How has MedWet been involved in this so far? Sana will talk a little bit more about this in more detail. We have been very active at all of the mayor's roundtable meetings. and clearly in the Independent Advisory Committee. And we have, at a sub-regional level, created a work group alongside Ramsar France and members of the Independent Advisory City, as well as with Mr. Su from the Ramsar Regional Centre East Asia, to create this regional guidance for people to support the process within the Mediterranean. As Zebedee said, we would like to see more cities being accredited, and we hope that this webinar will form part of the process of supporting that. So thank you very much. I was trying to keep that as brief as possible, so I hope that that all made sense, and I will pass you back to Sana. Sana, I'll pass you back right now.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. It's important to highlight that Wetland City Accreditation is a collective effort, so it involves the wider community within each city. That's why we have invited today a manager, wetland manager, NGOs, Ramsar Focal Point, and Mediterranean cities, thanks to the support of MedCities Network, which we have the honor to have with us today. So I will invite Ms. Carolina Perez Valverde, Head of the Policy and Knowledge Sharing at MedCities, who will present the MedCities Network. Carolina.
Thank you, Sana, and thank you, Chris. It's a great honor to be with you today. We have been already for 1 year and a half or so. Let's see if do you see my screen?
Yes, Carolina.
The screen, yep.
I'm trying to put it in presentation mode now. Do you see it in presentation mode?
It's perfect.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Well, it's great that we reached this day, because after talking so many times on how we could bring our initiatives together in the Mediterranean, this is the first time that we collaborate in one precise action, and I think it's the beginning of a long-term collaboration that makes an awful lot of sense. So it's a pleasure to introduce a MedCities network, and also a bit what we are, the way we are undertaking in relation to wetlands ecosystems. We are a network of local authorities of all sorts of the Mediterranean. We are municipalities, metropolitan areas, unions of municipalities, at the end, local authorities from 18 countries of the Mediterranean. We count with now 91 members. And what we do basically is to support each other on empowering local authorities. We work a lot on decentralization and on raising capacities to meet the challenges of local governments, and also to be a voice of local authorities at different fora. And we do this acting as a knowledge sharing platform. We do a lot of peer-to-peer learning, study visits. We have working groups to work at a smaller scale with our members. We also work through projects, and we have this advocacy part, and always trying to either engage strongly our members or work on tools and instruments that will methodologies that will be useful in practice for them. I'm happy to say, I did not say in the previous one, that Valencia is one of the accredited city wetlands, or wetland city. And actually, our aim is to get, we have, you can see in the map that we have quite a number of members that are next door within wetland areas, and our aim is to engage them in this process. Very quickly, when I started, I saw that at least we do have here our colleagues from Antalya and from Mughla metropolitan municipalities. I think there is a huge potential in Turkey, and of course in Tunisia and Morocco, in other countries, but I'm very happy to see them with us today. And saying that, I will continue telling that we work on different thematic areas. We are not focused on wetlands. I mean, we are a network of local authorities. We work on all topics that are either of competence or of concern of local authorities. But within those topics, there are topics like environment, biodiversity, resilience, climate change, strategic planning, within which wetlands play a key role. And we have been seeing, and we have been dealing with wetlands in small actions that we want to become more strategic within all our work on resilience, because we are increasing our work in collaboration on urban resilience, and we think natural ecosystems within or in peri-urban areas are key for this resilience. So we do have some small actions that we have done in collaboration with organizations like MedCities, with the University of Malaga, with ITIS-IUMA, with Plan Bleu, and now with MedWet. And we have done we have undertaken actions like study visits. We took different stakeholders, for instance, from the municipality of Sfax in Tunisia to visit Oristano Wetlands in Sardinia in collaboration with MedCities. We also did some trainings on wetland contracts for different municipalities in Tunisia. We have organized webinars and seminars on this topic with other partners, in which we brought the voice of some of our members. And within one of our former projects, the Mediterranean Biodiversity Protection Community, we put some recommendations together, policy recommendations that also were addressing local authorities in the Mediterranean. Awareness is very important. We were also collaborating on putting together a wonderful video, the animated video on the value of wetland ecosystems in the Mediterranean, the pressures, and how we could all together seek solutions to enhance the conservation and the state of these ecosystems. And what I wanted to say is that in the say last 10 years, we have been seeing a very strong shifting of the relation of cities and wetlands, in which there is an increasing acknowledgement of the value of these ecosystems and the services they provide, and their importance for the resilience of the cities in terms of regulating water, climate, and food, well, everything. As it was in the previous slide, wetlands are life. So we have seen more and more how members are engaging in management bodies and having a stronger role on those areas, wetland areas that are protected. But in those and those that are not, we have seen more and more actions to reduce degradation. Of course, there is a long way to go, but there are many municipalities that are really taking action to reduce pollution to wetlands, to decrease to protect them from changing land uses, to protect them from water extraction. And also local authorities are key on raising awareness of the population, of the private sector, of other stakeholders. We have seen members taking wetlands in their flood risk management strategies, and it's important that that's more and more taken on board by municipalities, including them in their work on the water cycle, restoration activities. And it's very important also that to put wetlands in area-based planning from a urban perspective, and include their services and their protection in climate change adaptation and mitigation. Finally, we think it's very important, and we are seeing this happening in now that many authorities in the Mediterranean are working on strategies related to climate resilience, to blue economy as well, to put wetlands into those strategies, wetlands conservation, preservation, restoration, like key elements for resilience in cities. So seeing that these actions are already undertaken by local authorities, and are not by all, obviously, but what we aim as MedCities is to transfer these experiences to other municipalities and all together work on this direction. And we think this award, this recognition to those cities that work in this direction with their wetlands is very important to this end, to give visibility to the value of these actions, and to put these cities as to front runners that can act as peer to other cities to undertake this direction. And just to close, because I don't want to take more time, MedCities always works in collaboration with other actors. We are in a network with a more specific focus, but we have a wide array of collaborations within which we are happy to include and integrate MedWet, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you very much. Super.
Thank you very much, Carolina. Yep, that's excellent. We're very happy to be working with you. It's great to see how much MedCities is already doing in terms of highlighting the role of wetlands in healthy urban areas as well. So yeah, we're really looking forward to having a closer working relationship with you. Thank you very much. I will now pass this back to Sana Mazugi, who is our MedWet advisor for Wetland City Accreditation and for the Mediterranean, and she will present a bit more on the accreditation's history, criteria, and timeline. So Sana, back to you.
Thank you, Chris. Hello, everyone. Do you see my screen?
We do, perfectly.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, today I will be telling the story behind Wetland City Accreditation. Every global movement has a starting point. The starting point for Wetland City Accreditation was Ghar El Melh. Okay, so Ghar El Melh is a tiny village in Tunisia. It's about 50 kilometers from the capital, Tunis. And it's a home of a 10,000 lagoon, which has been Ramsar site since 2007. What is important and what is unique in Ghar El Melh is this close link between the city and the people, and the wetland and the people, sorry. So in Ghar El Melh, you can find this traditional polder-based agriculture. It's a technique that dates back from the Phoenician time, where farmers bring the sand from the beach and they create polders on the wetland. And this wetland is located between the mountain and the sea. And thanks to the tidal movement and the water coming from the rain, so they are able to grow different type of crops like onion, watermelons, and pumpkins. And it's a very unique technique. So the farmer, who is also a fisherman, they are using like traditional fishing technique in the lagoon, and they are able to catch like sea bream, sole, and eels. They also have this technique of using the reeds from the wetlands to construct the storage where they store their crops. So yeah, everything is connected to the wetland. We also have this marabout who is like protecting the wetland. It's a tomb of a holy man called Sidi Ali al-Makki. And yeah, we cannot say that already before having the Wetland City Accreditation, the city was a hub for environmental education. They have 3 schools, and in all schools, they would always celebrate World Wetland Day because the wetland is the cultural reference for them. We also have this first national wetland center called Dar El Bhira in Tunisia, which is the house of the lagoon, if I translate it well. So yeah, all this criteria, all this cultural, ecological criteria made us like, and back at the time I was working with WWF North Africa and Tunisia, and when we were implementing projects in the city, and we just observed that although those people are the guardian and the protector of the wetland, but they were not aware of their role first, and they were not aware of the Ramsar, designation, the Ramsar Convention and the Ramsar designation. So we thought, okay, so the Wetland City Accreditation concept originated from 2 simple questions: how to recognize and reward local people who are actively contributing by their daily activities to the conservation of their wetlands, and how to promote this cultural interest of wetland and consolidate the link between the physical conservation of the site and the involvement of local people in the protection of this site. So yeah, we first developed a set of criteria, which today evolved to be more inclusive and more replicable worldwide. One of them was like the city should have one Ramsar site, the city should have like a public awareness and activities and celebrate World Wetland Day, the measure to conserve, the restoration measures, and also the wetland should be integrated in the spatial territorial planning. And then it was a huge work of stakeholder engagement at all levels. It started from the local in Ghar El Melh, then to the national, then to the international. The concept was presented the first time in 2012 during World Wetland Day in Ghar El Melh in Tunisia in front of the local population who liked the concept. So we then went to the Ramsar Secretariat and we presented in front of the advisor of all continents. The concept then won a prize in Agadir in Morocco, a MedWet prize, and then was presented for the first time in a COP during a side event in Bucharest. It was in COP 11. Then we were invited by Jeju in South Korea, and we did together a workshop to better, discuss the criteria and see how they can be inclusive and replicable worldwide. Then finally, the accreditation was adopted via Resolution 1210 in COP 12 in Uruguay, and it was presented jointly by Tunisia and South Korea. And then the city that inspired the concept applied along with other cities and obtained the accreditation in COP 13 in 2018 in Dubai. So as you see today, we have this let's say growing expansion of the number of cities. So we had in the first cycle in 2018 18 accredited cities, and then 25, and then 31 and COP 15, and today we have 74 worldwide. Out of this 74, 14 are Mediterranean. It's important to note that once the city obtained the accreditation, the city needs to apply for the renewal after 6 years, like after which we call 2 cycle. So we had this case for Ghar El Melh and Amiens and Courterange and Côte-de-Mer and Saint-Omer. They obtained the accreditation in 2018 and they got the renewal in 2025. The Wetland City Accreditation and the Wetland City Network, which Mr. Su will explain after my presentation, this concept inspired a new local, national, regional sustainability concept. Like we have, for example, today, this informal network of 14 Mediterranean cities, which we met in last October. We have also this inspiration of the Sponge Label in Flanders in Belgium, and the German initiative to create a Ramsar Wetland City Network for Europe by the next COP in 2028 in Chile. So now coming back to the core of the architecture of the Wetland City Accreditation. So we have 6 core mandatory criteria. And we have other, which we call Group B, which are complementary approach, which if the city provide them, will endorse the application. First, the city needs to have a Ramsar site or an important wetland conserved site within its jurisdiction. Second, the city should adopt policies to prevent wetland degradation and destruction. The third criteria is about restoration. The city should implement proactive wetland restoration within the city. Then the fourth criteria is about planning. The city should integrate the wetland into the spatial planning. The fifth criteria is about awareness. The city is encouraged to celebrate World Wetland Day, at least for the last 2 years, and show that it has activities and raising awareness and inclusive to the marginalized community and vulnerable communities. Then the sixth criterion, which I think is the most important, that the city has to establish a local committee with people with pluridisciplinary actors, that this group will monitor and follow the process of the application. So a question, what are the benefits, finally, of Wetland City Accreditation? Today, we are observing the impact of climate change, especially like everywhere in the Mediterranean. So I think today it's more than crucial that that city made the step of this extra layer of protection. So the benefits is, first, we have this international recognition and visibility. This will attract funding and economic opportunities to the city, like for tourism, local market, green job. It will also enhance this climate resilience through the protection and wetland protection and restoration. And also it will allow the city to be member of this global Wetland City Network. So it will offer her access to peer learning, knowledge sharing, and international partnerships. Now coming back to the timeline. Okay, so it's a 3 years process. First, we have the preparation, then the year 2 is for the independent review, and year 3 is for the validation and award. Okay, so usually the Secretariat launch the call up 6 months after a COP. Interested city needs to prepare the application. Then the mayor or the representative of the city needs to sign this application and submit it to the administrative authority, which in this case is the focal point, the Ramsar focal point. And then the Ramsar focal point needs to submit the dossier to the Secretariat. The Secretariat will forward it to the Independent Advisory Committee, and then they will review this. They will take 1 year to review and determine which city meets the standards. And then the Independent Advisory Committee will report to the Standing Committee, and then the Secretariat will announce the winner and invite them to the COP ceremony. In our case, for this year, the call was launched in March 2026. Cities will have until the 31st of December to submit the dossier. And then the results will be announced in COP 16 in 2028 in Panama City and Chile. Yeah, to end my presentation, I would only say that many of the world's greatest civilizations from Egypt to Mesopotamia were born around wetlands, and let's hope that the resilient cities of tomorrow will be those who choose to protect them. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Sana. Yeah, it's great to have your input there, particularly because you were involved from the very beginning. And great to see what Ghar El Melh has learned from that, and to have that update on some of the nuts and bolts of how people apply for the accreditation. So we're going to move to another organization that was here from the very beginning. And I'm going to pass you over to Mr. Sir, who is the Executive Director for the Ramsar Regional Center East Asia, who will present on the Wetland City Accreditation Program and Wetland City Network benefits for cities and their citizens. Mr. Sir, I pass it to you.
Hello everyone. Good morning, good evening. Good evening here, good morning there. Thank you very much for inviting me to this meaningful workshop webinar here. My presentation is pretty similar to the previous presentation by Sana, but I will add a few more information on that. Okay, this is similar also. There's a background. The Wetland City Accreditation was not just dropped out of the sky. It was just built in the convention from the Ramsar COP10 2008. So it also emphasized the role of cities and also importance of urban and peri-urban wetlands. And also in COP11, Ramsar COP11, there was another resolution, principles for the planning and management of urban, peri-urban wetlands, also emphasized here the importance of the urban and peri-urban wetlands. And this resolution specifically requested a Wetland City Accreditation as a branding opportunity for the cities that demonstrate strong and positive relationships with the wetlands. Then there were following actions made by the city level the country level. So there were a series of workshops that was held in Morocco in 2012, and then in the Republic of Korea, and then Tunisia, 2014. Then at the Ramsar COP 12, with the resolution 1310 in 2015, finally we adopted the resolution Wetland City Accreditation in Uruguay. The purpose of this accreditation is to promote the conservation and wise use of wetlands and regional and international cooperation, as well as to generate sustainable socio-economic benefits for the local populations. What we expect from this city accreditation is to encourage cities to establish and enhance a positive relationship with their wetlands through the increased participation and awareness and consideration of wetlands in local planning and decision making. So this the duration of this the accreditation is 2 Ramsar COP cycles. Normally, it's just 6 years, and as mentioned, we now have 74 wetland cities from 26 countries. I mean, many cities are asking, what are the benefits of getting this accreditation as the wetland cities? So what we can clearly say is that it's a global recognition. So you can use the label wetland city and the logo for the products of your cities, agriculture products and fishery products, when it's a contribution for the income of a local population, and also international prestige. So we now have Wetland City Network website. You can see the world map. There are pointed the dots with the accredited wetland cities. When you click it, you can go to the page of wetland cities. It's another label and another opportunity for the cities of fame. The city can be recognized as one of the world leader in the wetland conservation. And then also economic and financial support you can expect. It's just related to the policies of the countries, but many countries are adopting this, applying this policies. So they give priorities to the cities or other entities that they have proved their actions or quality of programs already. Then they have priorities in getting the finances. So you can receive the priority for the government grant, and then the national budget allocation for the wetland restoration and environmental education and other infrastructure projects. And also you can expect to increase the revenue through the marketing tools to attract nature-based tourism, creating jobs and increasing incomes for the local businesses like hotels, restaurants, and then guide programs. And then also what you can expect is knowledge sharing and networking. This is the objective of our proposal to make this Wetland City Network. So the Ramsar Regional Center East Asia proposed this network at the Ramsar COP 13 with to the 18 Wetland City mayors, first accredited cities. So they all agreed, and then we started this great network. So cities can join this exclusive global network where they can share their best practices, technical expertise, and also their policies, planning strategies. So with the other wetland cities, and then they can collaborate each other through this network. So it's a good opportunity for in many different aspects. And then environmental and social benefits. You can, I mean, with this city accreditation, so cities can have more active programs and policies on wetland. Then the citizens can expect to have enhanced ecosystem services and also improved quality of life as a result of this city accreditation. And this is about the criteria that was also explained by Sana. So it's important. Ramsar site designation has 9 criteria, but if you want to designate the Ramsar site, you need to qualify. You need to meet at least 1 criterion. Then you can have the Ramsar site. But here we have 6 criteria for the Wetland City accreditation. The cities, they should meet all 6 criteria to become a Wetland City accreditation. So Wetland cities. So that's a difference between the Ramsar site designation and Wetland City accreditation. So those 6 criteria is very important. So for the cities need to qualify. Meet all these criteria together. You cannot miss out even single one. Then you will miss the opportunity. So this is the accreditation process, the cycle process. So this is a 3-year process. After the Ramsar COP meeting, in the first year, the Ramsar Secretariat will make an announcement, like a call for applications for all the cities, all the contracting parties. Then city that they want to apply for this accreditation, they can complete the nomination form and then they can submit it to the national authority, not directly to the Ramsar Convention. So it should be reviewed and then it should be endorsed by the government. Then the government will submit it to the Ramsar Secretariat for the global level review. And then all the received applications will be delivered to the independent advisory committee. And then the committee members will review and select the applicant cities to be accredited. And then the result will be reported to the standing committee to get the recognition of the standing committee members to the IES report. And then that result will be delivered to the Secretariat, and then to the finally to the Ramsar COP. That's gonna be the important stage or certificate awarding ceremony we will have. So we will invite all the city mayors, the accredited, and then we will deliver the big, nice looking certificate to them. So this is the last slide, the global network of wetland cities. Like I mentioned before, this was proposed at the Ramsar COP13. So this is the first accreditation stage. So that was the first time. What we observed was, the mayors from the 18 wetland cities, they were very happy about having this certificate and then having this accreditation. But I wasn't sure that they will continuously make actions. They make interactions in between. I didn't believe so. When they get back, they will do their work well, but we need to have some mechanism, platform for them to interact with each other. So that's why we proposed this Wetland City Network to the city mayors. They agreed on that. Then we started this Wetland City Network. Then now RRCA is serving as the secretariat for the network. And so we organize the conference meeting every year as an annual basis. We call this the Roundtable of Wetland City Mayors. So the first one was held in Korea 2019, the second one in Amiens, France, and the third one Dongying, China, fourth one last year in Tata city in Hungary. And then we are planning to have the fifth Mayors Roundtable in the city Niigata in Japan, November this year. Then the sixth and seventh meeting was also decided, the host cities. So Valdivia in Chile, 2027 next year. And then Mayors Roundtable 7, Mechelen, Belgium in 2028. So cities are very, enjoying this opportunity, and that they want to. Many cities are want to host this kind of festival of wetland cities. And then this Wetland City Network is closely linked to the independent advisories activity. So Mayor's Roundtable is one of the supporting mechanism of the independent advisory committee meetings. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Su. Thank you. It was very informative, and we learned about especially the Wetland City Network. Who, thanks to the Wetland City Network, the Wetland City Accreditation is alive, and cities are meeting every year, and this is a very important work. Thank you very much. And now I will invite Mr. Bastien Coic, who will speak about the wetland cities in France and this network of Wetland City in France and the dynamic in France. Thanks very much. Bastien, c'est à toi.
Do you see my screen and my presentation in full screen? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So hello everyone. I'm going to talk about the Ramsar in France, and especially the dynamics of the Ramsar cities in France, and what we do to help the Ramsar wetland cities to have some tools and to be active in the Ramsar dynamic in our country. Okay. Yeah. So first of all, the Ramsar Convention in France, just to see, the France became a contracted parties in 1986, and now we have 57 wetlands of international importance. As you see on the map on the right, that we have coastal wetlands, inland wetlands, and also in the mainlands and also in the overseas. And we have quite a good dynamic of designation, because we have between 1 and 2 Ramsar sites per year, which is designated, and it's almost 4 million of hectares. This is for the Ramsar site, and about the French wetland cities. Sana told you a few minutes ago, but we have 9 wetland cities accredited in France. The first were the one in red. It's Amiens, Saint-Omer, Pont-de-Mer, and Courterange, and then 2 more in the second row of designation, and 3 last year during the COP in Zimbabwe. So now we have 9 wetland cities. They are all located in the Ramsar site, and we have a lot of difference between all these cities. We have like some village with 50 inhabitants, and the biggest one is almost 150,000 inhabitants. So we have very some of them are in the north of the country, other in the south. The only type of cities we don't have is overseas wetland cities, but there is a lot of difference. But also we have a common point between all these cities is wetland and wetland management in a good way, if I can say it as. So we can see there is like a diversity, like Amiens, Abbeville is also in north of France, Arles in the south of France, which is located in Camargue. Belleval, en Argonne, Courterange, and Ampigny are in the Champagne. And then we have in Normandy, Pont-de-Mer, Saint-Omer in the north of France, and Thels at the frontier with Germany. So very different cities. Just to explain what we do, Ramsar France, in link to these wetland cities. We are a 15 years old association, and at the beginning we were created to promote the Ramsar label in France and to coordinate the network of the Ramsar sites. And when the Wetland Cities label was created in 1915, we also had in our goals the coordination of the network of the future wetland cities. So we are in charge to encourage and support the designation of wetland cities in France. That's why we spread the information about the city label, the Wetland City label, in our partner who works in wetlands. And we try to create conditions of exchange and sharing of knowledge and experience about Ramsar site, but also Wetland City. We try to do the biggest links as possible between Ramsar site and Wetland Cities. For us, is very it's two complementary labels between the natural sites and cities. So we organized 3 key events in France during the year. The first one is the French Ramsar Symposium. We organize each year since 2008 a symposium. It's 3 days. We receive between 150 and 250 participants to exchange about common topics related to wetlands. And each time we move and we co-organize this symposium with the Ramsar site manager, but the wetland cities are strongly invited to come and to speak during this symposium. And we each year since 2018, sorry, we have a representative of wetland cities, at least one. It can be technical people or elective people. But we have each year wetland city. We come to this symposium. We also organize each year the French Mayor Roundtable, like you saw the presentation from Mr. So about the Mayor Roundtable at the worldwide scale, and we do the same at the French scale. So it's less impressive, but it's a good meeting for mayors to exchange about national concern about wetlands, wetland city accreditation, the scheme of renewal of accreditation. So we did it in each year. And last year in October 2025, we did it with MedWet, which is who organized this webinar to try to extend to the Mediterranean wetland cities. And the next one will be at the end of 2026, because at the beginning of the year we had some local election in cities. So we decided to do this meeting at the end of the year to be sure that all the mayors can be prepared and aware of this wetland city accreditation, and they can participate to this webinar. The third one, the third event is the World Wetlands Day. We use the wetland cities and the Ramsar site to spread the information about the World Wetlands Day and to organize some animation during the World Wetlands Day. So we have more than 1,000 events in 2026, and also a continuous increase year after year of animation. So we try to do our best to have some to increase the awareness of the people around wetlands. So as you can see, we have all the cities, wetland cities, are organizing some animation during the World Wetlands Day, and almost the Ramsar site. The one we don't organize, if it's because sometimes there are weather problems, like snow in the mountains, because for us the 2 of February is winter. But we also have more than 40,000 participants during in all this animation, only Ramsar site and Wetland City Networks. And then we also provide SEPA tools for the Ramsar cities. We try to develop a summary sheet of the wetland cities. For each of the 9 wetland cities, we have a recto verso sheet, easy to read, with the presentation of the city, the map and the Ramsar site, which is near the city. And then on the other side, we have the six criteria Sana and Mr. Su presented you a few minutes ago, and the sheet explain why the city is filling the 6 criteria. So we provide this sheet for the wetland cities, and they can use it to explain what they do about wetland preservation in their territory. And we also encourage the cities to use the summary sheet of the Ramsar site, because we also developed a summary sheet for Ramsar sites. We also encourage the wetland city to use the tools of the Ramsar site, like the summary sheet, but we also develop some kakemono or roll-up to show with a drawing and the specificity of the Ramsar site. And we develop 2 movies, a short one and a longest one. And we give the information to the wetland city to use it. And still the main objective is that they can explain what they do and why they do what they do about wetland preservation. So it's very important to explain to the population that wetland preservation is very important for the well-being. So thank you for your attention, and if you have some question, I can answer. Yes.
Thank you, Bastien. Yeah, it's always really impressive to see what Ramsar France are achieving. The activities on the ground are really incredible. So yeah, congratulations again on your work for this. And yeah, it's always a pleasure to work with you. And I have a picture of the Camargue in the background. So when you were talking about Arles, well, that's the wetland only last week. We are going to pass on now to Ms. Imen Rais, who is head of WWF North Africa's Freshwater and Wetlands Program, and she will go into a bit more detail on the benefits of Wetland City Accreditation to Ghar El Melh, building on what Sana said earlier. So Imen, over to you.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Sene. Hi, everyone. My name is Imen Rais. I am leading the freshwater program in WWF North Africa, and I've been witnessing the work that has been done for the incredible Ghar El Melh city. I am sharing my screen. Just a moment. Okay. Can you see my screen?
We can. It's not in presentation mode yet.
It's not. Okay. Okay, no problem. So, so moving to the South Mediterranean, I am going to present to you a city that inspired the label, but also to present what we have been doing on the ground to apply the criteria for the wetland city and some lessons learned. So as it was already presented by Sena, it's a city that is located in northern Tunisia, and it's very known for its rich biodiversity, hosting a lagoon, a complex of lagoons, and a number of different wetlands, but also forests and other important biodiversity and natural ecosystem. It is also very known for the Qat'aya agriculture, the farming system that is relying only on tidal movements to irrigate the crops, and for which 300 families are benefiting. The Ramsar city, the Ramsar accreditation first as a Ramsar site was awarded in November 2007, and then after a lot of work and advocacy, the Wetland City Accreditation was awarded in 2018, where both me and Sana were with the mayors to have this award. As it was already mentioned, a number of benefits already have been mentioned. I would say, sorry. A number of benefits have been mentioned already. I would say that from our side, it is important that this kind of accreditation serve as a tool, as a standard for cities to look at the standards and see where they are scoring well, what they are doing, and what needs improvement. It also serves a lot to create committees, because not only it is important to apply for the accreditation, but it's also important to gather all the stakeholders and get them to work together towards a goal that is beneficial for the city. It's important that we are linking cities to their wetlands, as is already said. For our case, we are looking at other accreditation like the FAO GIHHS, which is an accreditation for global systems, the global traditional farming systems, for which the city was accredited, and that was done thanks to the work of the committee that worked together towards the Wetland City Accreditation. Now we are looking at both accreditation to see how we can benefit the city. For example, it could be a branding for the city and for its products, like the products from the Ghar that are very specific, and we can use this as a tool to market and the products in the Tunisian markets and beyond. It is also a very important tool for awareness raising, and it's very important that we have the ownership of local population for that. Once we do that, the benefit is that they have more ownership for their natural ecosystem, and they protect them. We worked on restoration of the ecosystem because it is now in a state of, there are a number of threats. One of them is that from the years of the 70s, there was, for example, the construction of a harbor that, was constructed on the wetland at the coastal area, and that harbor created dysfunctioning for the whole ecosystem. So WWF is looking at one area of the complex, which is part of the lagoon called Sabkhat Sidi Ali al-Makki, which is a shallow salt lake. And this is where we have the Ghar boulders located. So this is one of the criteria for the wetland city, is that the stakeholders identify the threats and start looking at restoration and protection solution for their wetland. We have identified the threats, and we have undertaken a number of studies to support the government with scientific-based solution to solve the problem of water quality and water circulation flow in order to benefit the Ghar system. Of course, we are also providing support for other agriculture systems, but also for the artisanal fishing, for women, for diversification of livelihoods, for fishermen and farmers. And all of this is important for the stakeholders to adhere to the different concepts that we are working on, and to support the process for the Wetland City Accreditation. We also work on the irrigated perimeters, including also the Ghar, but we try to look at the use of water and try to optimize the use of water in the surrounding farming system, but also look also at limiting the use of pesticides that are running to the wetland and causing a huge problem of pollution. So we partner with national agriculture institutions in order to support the farmers with technology-based systems that allow them to improve their water use, but also improve the production of their crops. At the same time, we always look at the Ghar as one important traditional technique that needs to be maintained. So a number of challenges. Of course, the Mediterranean is not one homogeneous region, the southern Mediterranean is also living a number of challenges related to governance of cities, but also of their natural ecosystems. This is aggravated by climate change that is making the need is more urgent to find solution for our wetlands and our cities, more pressures and urbanization. And there is also a need to look at food and water security risks that are becoming more and more serious. So we recommend to strengthen governance and participatory management to promote sustainable livelihoods and nature-based solution implementation, and to enhance scientific monitoring for water and biodiversity. Thank you, and I'll remain available for any questions.
Thank you, Iman. It's amazing to see the important work that has been done since the accreditation in Ghar El Melh, and this is thanks to WWF North Africa efforts, which let's say that it's important. The city cannot apply by itself to the Wetland City Accreditation. It's a collective effort, and the role of NGO in accompanying and supporting the process is very important. And now we will travel to the north of the Mediterranean with Monsieur Laurent Gavory, who will present the benefits of 7 years of accreditation to Amiens, which we had the pleasure to visit in the not the last one, but the previous one, Round Table of Mayor, an amazing city. Laurent, c'est à toi.
Okay, thank you. Greeting for Amiens, located 100 kilometers north of Paris. For the past week, with daily temperature exceeding 35 degrees Celsius, Amiens is today a Mediterranean wetland city. All that's missing are the flamingos, marble-tailed and white-headed. I will now move on my presentation. The slideshow will show you a few images that are not always related to what I am saying.
Laurent, allow me 1 second. Allow me to share. Sorry, it's my bad. Allow me to share my screen to show the amazing picture you shared with me, okay? Just a second.
I continue. The slideshow, I repeat, the slideshow will show you a few images that are not always related to what I am saying. I put it together quickly to make up for not having my camera. It should make the experience more pleasant for you. So it's okay? Thank you very much.
Yes.
The city of Amiens was among the first 18 cities to receive the Wetland City Accreditation for the Ramsar Convention, a statute it has held for 7 years now. This involves 2 key formal milestones: preparing the initial accreditation application in 2018 and the subsequent renewal application in 2023. Through this period, the city have actively pursued its commitment. Yes? What's happened?
Sorry, there is a mic that is not muted. Abder, can you unmute? Sorry, Laurent.
Okay, no problem.
Go ahead.
After this year's, donc 7, and these 2 major steps, it seems like the right time to take stock of the situation. This review is particularly relevant given that the recent municipal election in Amiens brought a new team of elected officials with a different political outlook to the head of the local government. They are currently assessing on ongoing action and projects. My presentation serves several purposes. It compels me to conduct this analysis by a specific deadline. Thank you, Sana. It allows me to offer suggestions for managing the accreditation, of fully helping you in the process, and in return, it invites you in feedback on our situation, which will help me gain perspective and refine my analysis or strategy or our action plan. Thank you in advance for listening or sharing your view. You can send your feedback with email, or if it saves your time, via voice or video message. As you can see, this analysis is an individual initiative reflecting my perspective as a technical specialist, driving my concomitant to wetland conservation and as the project leads. Consequently, it acts above judge and interest party, yet lacks control over the level of action and ultimately does not make the key decision, such as those regarding the budget of the city concomitant. This self-assessment was conducted by comprehensively reviewing the action taken over the past 7 years, particularly in the context of the recent application to renew the label. The review I am presenting assess the extent to which we have met the objectives associated with the accreditation with of 10. In fact, this objective corresponds to the obligation required to secure and retain the label. I will freely admit that the potential loss of the label was a significant concern for us. I will not detail the obligation here. They are primarily outlined in the criteria and the question that must be answered with compiling application dossiers, whether for initial accreditation or renewal. These appear in various documents, except of which I have provided in the appendix. I have observed that across the 3 accreditation cycles, the expectation of the committee and the COP regarding the city have shifted toward demanding tangible results for labeled city, seeking renewal, and requiring city applying for the first time to commit to being proactive and to declare specific project and new initiative. I welcome this shift in direction. These objectives and obligations are follow. Reducing the city impact of existing wetlands by factoring them into decision-making and planning processes, implementing measures to conserve wetlands and their ecosystem services, and preventing any loss, implementing wetland restoring and management actions, raising awareness and educating the public about respecting and considering wetland, involving the local population in decision regarding the future of wetland, notably through the establishment of a local committee. Given our involvement in network, especially in the global network led by the Ramsar Regional Center of East Asia and the National Wet Law, started by Ramsar France. So we contribute to the operating of Wetland City Wetland and to initiatives launched by the Convention Secretariat. I therefore propose a brief overview of summary of our action and initiative, followed by an analysis leading to specific recommendation. To help you understand our situation regarding wetland conservation are some select facts about the context of our work. A population of 135,500 and a territory of 5,000 hectares situated in the confluence of 3 water courses and their floodplains, designated Ramsar sites, which is the city does not manage, 30,068 hectares of predominant wetland area, and 268 of which lies within the Ramsar site, with the city owning approximately 60 hectares. A sovereign municipality council comprising the mayor and deputy mayor, along with various bodies and opportunity for public engagement, particularly regarding wetland. Some of the wetland area as privately owned. A hierarchical distribution of responsibility and competency extending from the European Union down to the municipalities level. Locally, the municipality is a member of a large structure, Amiens Metropole. We comprise 39 municipalities. Administrative functions are shared between the city and the Metropolitan Authority. A workforce of over 350 staff across numerous departments, more than 12, with decentralized management of public space. National regulation mandates the protection of wetland, a requirement that is generally observed with the option for the city to implement stricter measures through dedicated area protection and urban planning control. French cities therefore face significant obligation to limit their impact on wetland. Today, the destruction of wetland is not longer accepted and must act and must, at a minimum, be offset by compulsory mention. Based on the 5 areas outlined earlier, I will not present a brief overview of our action. Reducing the impact of the local authority and project work on wetland, notably through tailored planning. On the December 2025, the City of Wetland improved the new local urban plan, which established construction and development regulation for the entire municipality territory. Virtually all areas classified as wetland has been designated as L zone, natural zone. Thereby protecting them from construction and to some extent for infillings. The total area of this zone has increased compared to the previous version of the plan. The Ramsar site management plan concerning the city has been improved. However, the city made no significant contribution, and its status as wetland city did not confer any specific role or, crucially, any additional responsibility. A project to develop a restoration and management plan for Wetland City, 22 hectares, owned by the city of Amiens, was initiated in 2021, but had not yet been complete, primarily due to administrative reasons. 2. Implementation of wetland restoration and management action. The restoration of natural habitat and educational enhancement of the Marais des Travaches, 30 hectares owned by the city, initiated in 2019 with a budget important and future definitive in 2021 has not yet been implemented. Furthermore, the budget allocated for natural habitat restoration were removed for the main budget, pending an hypothetical supplementary budget. For the same site, a wetland restoration and management plan was produced and validated in 2021, but was never acted upon. 3 urban parks open to the public contain area of natural habitats. They are managed less intensively and air preserved. 3. Information and awareness rising regarding respect and consideration of wetland. Active participation in World Wetland Days through a program of events for general public spanning about 10 days, including 10 and 15 activities were held by year, attracting modest attendance, except for those aimed at children. The number of activities offered actually on the decline. For over 30 years, the city has delegated the management of a facility located in the Ortillonnage wetland area to Amiens Métropole. The facility aims to inform and raise awareness among young people about nature, specifically wetlands. Its resources have been increased to support new activity over the course of a month in conjunction with World Wetland Days. The city Amiens Metropolis funds and supports the Ortillonnage d'Amiens International Garden Festival, which showcases this wetland area by presenting over 50 land art installations. Other initiatives have been launched, such as the Zero Waste Challenge, especially the water consumption component, and occasionally guided tours, some of which are led by elected officials. The city allows residents to propose projects that are funded through a participatory budget. Sham provides they receive strong public support via a vote. For winning projects that involve the wetland area, will not all were strictly aimed of the protection. 3 clearly were. 4. Involving the local population in decision regarding the future of wetland, notably through the establishment of a local committee. The city has been relatively inactive on this specific point, largely because the vast majority of local authority initiative, various project major chains already entail resident consultation, a process often mandated by regulatory requirements. 5. Contribution to the of Wetland City Network, as well as to the initiative launched by the Convention Secretariat. Our participation in the international network was significant and exemplary. 2 COP side events, 2 webinars, and 3 mayors' congresses, one of which were organized by the city itself, representing a major investment. In the national network, 2 national Ramsar France seminars and 3 meetings of accredited cities. The international congress had little impact, whether nationally, internationally, or even locally. Based on this assessment, what lessons regarding success, delays, or failure should you, my listener, take away for the future of the accreditation in our area? The accreditation, a modest yet useful catalyst for action. Efforts were made, including some ultimately strong policy decisions clearly linked to the accreditation, such as the budget for the developing the Marais des Travages and the local urban plan. Suit implementation was far less positive. It's clear to me that it did not act at the open for catalyst. In fact, interest was waning over the year. Within our local authority department, the accreditation is not always fully understood, yet it serves as a standard bearer for wetland protection, arguably more than a regulation do. Since the accreditation stems from a political decision, the very act of proposing compels decision maker to pay close attention to wetland when making major decisions. So this happens much less frequently in day-to-day management. Organizing the Mayor Congress left a lasting impression. In response of, here are a few suggestions. Preparing the accreditation application must be a shared effort integrated into a participatory process that involves the entire chain of stakeholders who will be responsible for the managing and leveraging the accreditation, from elect official to administrative staff. It should serve a motivational exercise designated to bring future stakeholders into the dynamic and build a collective team. The same should apply to the renewal application, which must be accompanied by the assessment used to complete the dossier. We couldn't the assessment be conducted by another certified city. Label renewal must be strictly contained upon result that a minimum maintaining the status quo and provide evidence of progress that is clearly demonstrated as such. The label deserves to be showcased as an indicator of a sound policy supporting wetlands. However, it is ultimately awareness based on the track record, the application dossier itself. Therefore, the focus should be on the renewal process, highlighting the progress achieved by the city. Regarding the next point, regarding the organization of the Mayor Congress, it is important. Is it important not to overlook the fact that the event will have a greater impact on the local stakeholders, national or international ones, and that it can serve a genuine motivational session. The gaze of others of the entire world is a powerful motivating factor. Wetland City, a topic that struggled to generate engagement. Public-facing activity have attracted limited audience, and the accreditation itself does not significantly boost engagement, aside from the mandatory requirement to organize events for World Wetland Days. The topic does not resonate with the general public, and the term Ramsar is unhelpful, as it is difficult to understand. On the positive side, the international dimensions don't spark curiosity, so often among an audience that is already knowledgeable about the subject. Perhaps we should target other audiences such as children who are more receptive, or local stakeholders like elect officials and technical staff. Network participation, the value is not always understood. We have both participated and organized several meetings, admittedly mobilizing stakeholders for some of them has been challenging. We need to define a clear strategy both regarding meeting contents, specifically by selecting topics of shared interest and benefit the majority, on how these initiatives are promoted locally. Perhaps we should pilot sessions aimed at evaluating the action taken. Involvement in managing promoting designated Ramsar site need clarification. It is important for a wetland city, even when it is not the site manager, to forge strong ties with the manager of the relevant Ramsar site. The primary reason is that the city generally have an impact on the wetland area. Currently, in our case, this is left to individual discretion. It would be beneficial to include a requirement for a close relationship between the accredited city and the site manager in the criteria, at least for the renewal process. The same should apply to Ramsar site manager. Here, as a first step, my observation, reflection, and recommendation. In conclusion, I can only encourage cities to apply for the label. It is a real asset. I will advise them to use the process of putting together the accreditation application to rally around the project leader or the stakeholder who will be involved in promoting the label in the future. I will be sure to expand on my analysis based on your question and comment. I'm sorry for my English, and thank you for your attention.
Thanks, Laurent. Thanks for this presentation. We learned a lot about what's happening in Amiens, which, as I was saying, we had the honor to visit. One of us, some of us, has the honor to visit. Now I'm aware of the timing, and I would like to open the floor to some questions. Especially if we have interested cities in the audience, or we have some NGOs that are planning to accompany some cities in the Mediterranean. So yeah, please take opportunity of this time we have together if you have a question.
So we have some questions, Sana, in the chat box. Maybe we'll just have a quick look through those. So the first question, which is from Savi Boudar from City of Moulia. Can cities that have multiple wetlands submit an application based on a single wetland that they consider a priority? Does the wetland have to be a Ramsar site, or does it just need to be designated nationally or a protected wetland? And once a city obtains Ramsar Wetland City Accreditation, how does the process continue? Is there monitoring or evaluation carried out after that? I don't know whether we passed that over. Who would like to respond to that?
Yeah, I think for maybe the Secretariat, like Mr. Zebede, if you are here, if you wanna. Okay. So yeah, we can answer. I mean, all of us, we can pop in. you, Chris, Bastien.
Sorry,
Mr.
I was
Su.
trying to connect.
Okay, perfect.
What was the question, please?
Okay, can cities that have multiple wetlands submit an application based on a single wetland that they consider a priority? This is the first question.
On a priority wetland, well, the purpose is to promote the wise use of wetlands. So if those cities are all taking actions around that specific, and they can easily demonstrate that they are responsible for these actions. For instance, a restoration initiative, a policy action. Yes, but if they are it must be one city. You cannot have 5 cities so applying for claiming ownership of one wetland, unless it's a trans city. a trans-city wetland, like you can say now, instead of saying transboundary between two countries. And so it is collectively owned by the two cities. In that case, one city can apply for its own share of the wetland, and the other city can apply for its own share of the wetland. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, Mr. Zebede. Okay, so I understand, like, there is two way of like responding to this question. One is if a city has multiple important wetlands. In that case, of course, yeah, it's important to highlight those wetlands in the application with our criteria, with their ecological assets. And then if a wetland is sharing, this is maybe a question that is not asked here, but if a wetland is sharing like multiple cities are around the same wetlands. In that case, they share the same, let's say, borders with the wetland. They can submit together jointly So I don't know if we both answered to the question to Mr. Sevi, but no, Sevi. So the second question was, does the wetland have to have a Ramsar site, or is it sufficient that it's designated as a nationally protected wetland?
I think Mr. So had his hand up, but I don't know, Mr. So.
Sorry,
No,
sorry,
don't
I
worry.
didn't see it.
It's okay.
Sorry.
I mean, sharing the wetland is quite common for the cities. I mean, in the national level, transboundaries not that common, but many cities are sharing the watershed and then wetland. So for me, I mean, I have met one mayor in Japan. He explained that we are sharing. I mean, 6 cities are sharing one wetland here. Then how can we approach this wetland city accreditation? I mean, for my understanding, you can apply for the wetland city accreditation with the wetland you are, I mean, now enjoying, and then other cities. I mean, they have their own share, so they can, of course, they can combine as one, or I mean, the cities, they have different policies, different practices. So, I mean, if they have, they can. We should encourage cities. They maximize the utilization of their natural resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. So. Yeah, for the second question, is it, doesn't necessarily have to be a Ramsar site if it's considered as an important site or designated within a national protection in the city. It can also the city can apply. This is where we were saying that now today the concept is more inclusive, and we are aware that it doesn't have to be a Ramsar site, but an important site. Okay, third question. Once a city obtains the Ramsar Wetland City Accreditation, how does the process continue? Who wants to take this answer to this? Maybe Chris, you want to answer?
Sure, yep. So the city designation lasts for 2 triennia. So after 6 years, the city is invited to reapply to continue the accreditation. And so that asks specific questions about how all of the original criteria are being implemented. So from that aspect, yes, you will have to reapply after 6 years, and that will require more evidence based on what you've been doing with your wetlands.
Do we have another question?
So the next one in the chat then, sorry, Zebedee, I think you have your hand up to add something. Zebedee.
Yes. So with respect to that question, it is important that cities understand that having the status of accreditation is not an end. I will call it the beginning, really. Yes, you have demonstrated in the application that you have done certain things, some things, but it is important that you continue. And that is where the renewal process really comes in. At the end of the second 3 years, as Mr. Sir said, you need to demonstrate that you have implemented some activities and then you still meet the criteria, and then the accreditation will be renewed. So after accreditation, what happens? You need to continue working. And then as Mr. Saul presented, the accreditation gives you exposure. You become visible in our the convention's global map. You can use that accreditation or signature to look for funding, but even you can use it as an eco label for your fishing, as the presentation was saying, for tourism, as it is done in Kigali now, So all of those things help to promote the city, so that as the pressure on the wetlands is increasing, there is better protection and wise use of the wetland. Thank you. That's what I wanted to add.
Can I ask a question to you, Mr. Zebede? We know that we have in the Ramsar Convention, when a wetland is losing the ecological criteria, can be on the Registre de Montreux register. Is it planned to have this kind of register for Wetland City? If the city, for example, is trying to renew in the second COP to renew the dossier, but it's still not meeting the criteria, or lost, let's say, the criteria, is it planned to have this kind of register for Wetland City?
Well, I will not give you an answer to that, because the Secretariat, the Independent Advisory Committee should be able to give you an answer. But you need to understand that this is a young scheme. It is still growing, and so there maybe suggestions like that you can make to the Independent Advisory Committee, because they're always looking for opportunities to improve the scheme, and it is really the IAC that is working on that. The Secretariat provides administrative support strictly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. So, did you want to add something? I saw your hand.
Yes. Like Zebedee mentioned, this scheme is growing. I mean, still young, but we have I mean, we don't specify that process like a multi-record, but in the process of review in the IAC, if some criteria is not met in the document, then IAC members request for the cities to prove that, or improve, or submit more information to support. That process maybe can be another opportunity, or maybe they can apply for in the following session. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Mr. Su. Do we have other questions?
So, Sana, did you
I
see
would
the
like
one
to take this
from?
opportunity.
Did you see
Sorry.
the question
No,
from
sorry,
Noah
for the one.
Kuba? So,
Sorry, Nohe. Hi, Nohe, by the way. Thank you, everyone, for the very. I'm interested in better understanding of the process and the role of different stakeholders. And I get that it's meant to be a cross-sectoral effort, but here I get the impression that the nature conservation actors are leader of the process. Can some of you maybe tell me more about some supportive or challenging dimension process of collecting the data from sectors of urban planning and water management, and some conflicts that you noticed in the legal framework? Maybe we could now invite the cities who are asked to respond to the question, maybe Imen or Laurent.
Yes, maybe from out.
Allez-y, pardon. Sorry.
Go. Just to say that data collection is really important for Ghar El Melh. For example, we spent time looking at the city planning process. And I remember that we, as you said, it is a cross-sectoral process. And this is one of the things that makes it also unique, because you're looking at the city, but you're also looking at the wetland. And it's very important to have data that informs your work. For example, if you see the restoration work we're doing, all what we did is to support updated data to support decision making for the city.
No problem.
There is someone who's unmuted there.
Yes.
There's a lot to say about this. This is part of the answer. Maybe Laurent will add on that.
Laurent?
La question, j'ai compris que la question était.
Ok, alors, la question était, est-ce qu'il y a des challenges, vu que c'est un concept qui implique plusieurs acteurs, est-ce qu'il y a des challenges dans la collecte des données dans des secteurs, que ce soit dans le secteur de urban planning, de ménagement urbain, ou de l'eau, ou dans le secteur de l'eau. Et est-ce qu'il y a des conflits?
Pour constituer le dossier?
Oui, dans la collecte des données, voilà.
Donc nous, on a produit un dossier en 2018. Donc du coup, les exigences d'aujourd'hui sont plus celles d'hier, je pense. Après, moi, je pense pas que ça soit l'enjeu majeur pour constituer le dossier. Je pense que j'ai pas compris que le comité indépendant avait des exigences sur sur le contenu de l'état des lieux. Je sais pas si tu comprends la situation en fait de la ville, et que les données, elles doivent être en lien avec quelque part le bilan qui est présenté, qui doit être étayé, qui doit être justifié. Donc les données servent à justifier. Donc si pour moi, elles ne servent qu'à ça et présenter d'une façon globale la ville. C'est ce que je pourrais dire. Je sais pas. Tu m'as compris ou pas?
Oui. So Mr. Laurent is saying that, okay, so the application dossier for Amiens was back in 2018. Since then, also the guidelines for the application for Wetland City Accreditation has evolved and improved. And maybe today they are requesting other evidences that he's not maybe aware of this year. But he's saying that there were no challenges, like each sector were presenting their data, and they were and he's not sharing about any challenging regarding that. But if I may add something, because I was in Ghar El Melh when we did this for Ghar El Melh. I think one of it's not a challenge, but it's like when you have a local committee that is formed by different key stakeholders. Some of them are not sometimes necessarily aware of, or like let's say aware of, not their capacity are not enough aware of the wetland issues. So because this local committee can involve people from the education sector, from the tourism sector, from the agriculture sector, and some of them are not really like environmental related sector, which we think that although everything is connected. So maybe the challenge was to raise the awareness of this sector. So that's why I think it's important today to think about like a training module for those key actors, so because they will follow the process. So it's important to get them, trained and very aware of the wetland question. And I don't know if we all responded to your concern and question, Nuhay.
I agree.
Are you here?
I agree with you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Maybe Nuhe, I had the chance to meet with Nuhe in the past, and maybe Nuhe, you can introduce yourself and explain what's the important work you are doing today about Wetland City Accreditation.
Thank you, Sana. Thanks for giving me this chance to present myself. I am a PhD researcher now here in Hamburg, but I'm also studying wetlands in the Mediterranean region, comparing the planning instruments that support the wetland ecosystems. And so, yeah, I'm like in the process of collecting data about the instruments, about the policies, and to analyze them, connect them to regulations and international policies.
Thanks, Nuha. Thanks. So she might get in touch with all of you guys to further her important research. Thank you all. I don't know,
Bastien had his hand up as well. Sana,
pardon. I'm not
don't
sorry.
worry. Bastien, I don't know if you wanted to add something.
Just to complete the answer of Florent, maybe in the biggest city for France, the city can collect all the information, and with the partner, the different scale of the wetland city. Sometimes we have also in the little cities, wetland cities, they can be helped by another structure like natural parks, and they have ecological data, so they can help the city to collect the data and to summarize the data for the accreditation. But I saw also in your question that you have the impression that the natural conservation actors are leader of the process. In France, it's not the case. It's the city to fill the accreditation dossier, but she can be helped by other structure. But we have the city as leader, but as leader of his accreditation. And then our structure, like Ramsar France, we try to help once the accreditation given, and also we can provide some technical support, but the lead is to the city.
Thank you, Bastien. Thank you. Chris, well, I would like to thank you all for your active participation. But before we end this webinar, I wanted to share with you some tools that are communication tools that are produced by MedWet to guide cities. So we have, I don't know if you see my screen, we have this, it's like a simplified guide for Wetland City Accreditation, which was inspired by the amazing work done by the Latin American team, and especially Maria Meja from the Ciudad Humedal. I'm sorry for my Spanish. And this guide is a simplified guide for cities to guide them to apply for Wetland City Accreditation. We have also the call for application that was launched by ramsar.org, but we have it also in the MedWet website. So you can also get in touch with us if you have any question. And yeah, this also, so from this website, you get to the guide that was launched this year. Please be aware that it's different from the previous guide for cities, because there are new additions, like for example, new evidences needed, photos, some differences from the previous guide. And yeah, please get in touch if you have any question, and follow our page, and I hope we responded at least a little bit to your question. And yeah, that's it. Chris, do you want to say something?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Sana, as well, for all your organization of this event. It's really great to see that everybody has stayed till the end, even though we have run over slightly. We have been recording this, so we will share it. If you need a copy of it, please do get in touch. And yes, we encourage you all to apply for this great scheme to recognize all the good work that you are doing with your cities and wetlands. Thank you.
Special thank for the speakers. Thank you all. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Zibidi.
Bye,
Bye.
all.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Bastian. Bye, Chris.
Bye, Mr. So. See you
Bye.
soon.